Welcome back. Review a Day, episode number 217. My name is Leland, and thank you so much for finding me. This is Review a Day, my movie review blog. Hey, just last night posted episode number 68 of my weekly podcast, Dampercast. It's a weekly show I do with my buddies. We discuss a number of topics every single week. This week we did a hot or not list. I like to ask my gay friend Matt what he thinks of different celebrity women, so I always get his take on that. We also do the Craigslist dating game where I read some Craigslist ads and we decide who we would go on a date with. So head over to dampercast.com, episode number 68. You can also just search us up on iTunes and you can subscribe to us that way. Great way to get the show. The new movie review I'm doing this week is the highly anticipated film, The Social Network. I was definitely really excited about this movie. It's the new film from David Fincher, the director of Fight Club, Zodiac, one of my favorites, The Benjamin Button, Curious Case. Even thinking about that movie makes me a little bit drowsy. This new movie, The Social Network, this movie is written by Aaron Sorkin, the creator of The West Wing, one of my favorite television shows. If you dig this movie, The Social Network, and you have not seen The West Wing, you really do owe it to yourself to check it out, because it's such a wonderful show. This new movie, The Social Network, of course, talking about, based on the life of Mark Zuckerberg, CEO and founder of Facebook. The movie starts us off when he was kind of like a freshman or a sophomore at Harvard University. You're hanging out in his dorm room. He gets dumped by his girlfriend and he ends up starting with his best friend what would eventually become Facebook. And this movie is told kind of Rashomon style, where you've got these couple legal cases going on that were brought against Mark Zuckerberg. One by his best friend who ended up lending him a good amount of money to start the company, and these other two guys at Harvard, a pair of twins in this film anyways, who came to Mark Zuckerberg with this idea for like a Match.com style website, and they kind of sued over intellectual property on Facebook. And the movie is, of course, written by Aaron Sorkin, and I think when you have Aaron Sorkin writing your movie, he's a guy like Quentin Tarantino, or I would say Kevin Smith even, where I think the star of this movie front and center is Aaron Sorkin's writing, and I think he does a couple things really amazingly. Aaron Sorkin's dialogue is almost unmatched. Watching The West Wing, it's apparent, and watching the opening scene of The Social Network, which is between Mark Zuckerberg and his at the time girlfriend. Mark Zuckerberg in this movie is being played by Jesse Eisenberg. You've got Andrew Garfield as well in this movie, and Justin Timberlake plays the owner of Napster. But this opening scene between Mark Zuckerberg and his at the time girlfriend is such classic Aaron Sorkin writing, where it's just that quick. It's like his dialogue is electric. It practically crackles when you listen to it, and it's so fun to hear actors deliver this type of dialogue. The Social Network is a movie I would compare it to something like Doubt or Glengarry Glen Ross or Zodiac. These movies that are just so dialogue driven, and when you have a guy like Aaron Sorkin, I want to hear this dialogue. I really do want to hang on every single word. This other thing that I love about Aaron Sorkin is that he takes what could so easily be boring and confusing, and he makes it so concise and easy to digest, and also makes it so compelling. I mean, he took running the White House, he took international politics, something I pretty much slept through in high school, and he made it engaging, and he made it heartfelt, and he made it such a human story. And he does that with Facebook. He somehow made dudes starting up a website and programming on a computer engaging and easy to understand. And I think this movie gets that it has to have an emotional core, that there has to be something else here to invest in. And I think at the core, there's just a great story about two friends who have an incredible amount of success, and because of it are turned completely against one another. And that story is really interesting. Jesse Eisenberg and Andrew Garfield are wonderful in this movie. Jesse Eisenberg is like a goddamn laser. The way he spits out this dialogue, I believed every single second of it. I think Jesse Eisenberg is a wonderful actor. See Roger Dodger if you have not seen that. I really dig that movie. Andrew Garfield is wonderful. I think the Mark Zuckerberg in this movie is kind of a genius asshole. And I think on the other side of that, the other side of the coin, you've got Andrew Garfield, who's the guy who lends Mark Zuckerberg all the money. And his performance is incredibly sweet. And I think he's a lot of the heart of this movie. That when he's the one who gets fucked over at some point, you do feel the emotional punch for it. And I think it's really a wonderful movie to watch. I've given Aaron Sorkin a lot of credit for this movie, and I think he totally deserves it. David Fincher, I think, does a really great job directing this movie. It's a really restrained David Fincher. He's such a stylistic guy, you know. We've spent so many of our movies with David Fincher like literally like floating around rooms and going through inanimate objects. And here, I think he is very smart and realizes that all he really needs to do is set a camera down and film what's going on. It's very much a restrained style. And it feels like this movie could almost be a play. That really, the dialogue in it is that strong. I think the performances are all that strong. This is one of my favorite films of the year. I really do enjoy this movie, and I wholeheartedly recommend it. I give The Social Network a 5 out of 5. I do recommend people go check this movie out. I didn't know it was PG-13, by the way. I thought it was rated R. And so there you go. Head over to nitpickit.com or dampercast.com and check out the podcasts I do. I thank you in advance. Please come back, see me again soon. I'll catch you guys next time.